All right, welcome back, fellow Shopify entrepreneurs. We're back for another great month. Welcome to December. We're back for our once a month changelog Shopify update month in review. These are all of the updates we're going to be going over for this month. Sorry that this video is just a little bit late, everybody. As we know, Black Friday, Cyber Monday just happened. Hope everybody had a great Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and we continue that momentum into December. Boxing Day, holidays, January and February roll around. It's a great time of year to be running a business. If you're just starting out, well, you have a whole year to prepare and optimize everything, as this time of year comes every single year. Last month, I swear they change the dates on these sometimes, but last month we finished off right at this Shopify tax update. And we were talking about how it expanded to the European Union. We were talking about what Shopify tax is and how it got expanded to the United Kingdom, and how this is a massive update that is going to affect a lot of Shopify merchants. So if you're interested in last month's update video, check out my channel for that. But for today, start here, November 1st. This is a feature coming to the apps section. So it says configure your combined listings and search and discovery surfaces. Merchants using the combined listings app can now customize how their combined listings appear in search and product recommendations. For the time being, combined listing app is a plus feature only. I have a feeling though that app might trickle down the ecosystem. As Shopify always releases new products, it always starts at the very top and trickles down to more plans and more languages and more countries over time. For now, we're not going to jump into that too much just because we don't cover much plus stuff on this channel. So we move right along. November 4th. And this is an improvement to the product, specifically to the standard product taxonomy. Updates to the Shopify standard product taxonomy. Shopify standard product taxonomy has been updated to include additional category, attributes, and values. These additions enhance the accuracy with how you can represent your products. A large update, but summed up very quickly here. Shopify's product taxonomy is a way to accurately classify your product for search, for tax categories, so that people search it correctly, so that it is taxed correctly. There's also a lot of AI that goes into Shopify standard product taxonomy to help you select and categorize your products effectively and quickly. Shopify standard product taxonomy is an ever-evolving library, especially with the massive updates that came in the last few editions. But it just says here that the latest release includes updates across product areas such as apparel, accessories, home, garden, sporting goods, and more. If we're interested in the very specifics of this update, we can see this GitHub link here, and it goes into depth. For example, in the apparel and accessories, it's added leotards, unitards, fashion masks, hairbands. If we scroll down a little bit to health and beauty, they've added medical face masks. Home and garden got a big update. Luggage and sporting goods also got a big update. Anyway, moving on to November 6th, updates to UPS shipping when buying labels. So Shopify shipping now uses live rates when you purchase UPS labels in the United States, offering deeper discounts on small packages. So this is an improvement to the shipping, of course. So specifically, this update is for UPS. Specifically, this update is for the United States only. And specifically, it's for UPS Ground and UPS Ground Saver. This triggers my memory because I did a video way back in the day about UPS Ground Saver, because I had a shipping label that I printed, which had 3 addresses on it. Instead of a to and a from, it had a to, another to, and then also a from. I did a whole video explaining on why that is the case. If anybody needed help with that, you can check out my channel for that video, but this update is pretty straightforward. All right, another November 7th update here for Shopify Tax once again. So Shopify Tax now supports automated filing for US sales tax returns. So we're excited to announce that Shopify Tax now offers automated filing for sales tax management. Merchants can streamline compliance, ensuring accuracy and flexibility for US tax returns. Okay, so Shopify Tax is expanding quickly here. Last month, we saw it expanded to a whole new continent and a lot more countries. It used to only be for the US, for people in the US selling to the US. Then it got expanded to anybody in the world who was selling to the US. Now it got expanded to the UK, many countries in Europe. And now specific new features coming to Shopify Tax that helps you automate your filing of your sales tax return. This will integrate directly with your store. However, it seems like only certain stores are eligible for automated filing here. So it's only for merchants in the United States. It's only for those using Shopify Tax. And then if you're eligible, you'll see automated filing settings in your store. However, a really important note here found on the Shopify Help Center guide here is that it says automated filing is free to use until December 31st, 2024. To use free automated filing in 2024, you must activate automatic filing and complete setting up your returns by November 20th, 2024. So starting on January 1st, 2025, a fee is charged for every return generated by automated filing. What a really interesting update. For the longest time, Shopify was very hardlined in saying that it does not remit sales tax for you. However, it looks like as the Shopify tax product evolves, we're starting to see that hard line dissolve and more features being added to it, including automated filing for US sales tax returns. On November 7th, a unified user authentication experience update. So Shopify now has a user verification experience for sensitive actions in the admin, like deleting staff, protecting your business while keeping you in the flow of work. Not really any more information on this other than a unified user authentication experience update. Lots of words, not really sure where that is specifically referring other than in the admin, like deleting staff accounts or transferring store ownership and more. That's all the information we have on this one. An interesting update here on November 7th, again, coming to the Flow app, where a new cancel order action has replaced a deprecated version. So a new cancel order action cancels an order and voids the authorization, will replace a previous action relabeled cancel ordered, deprecated in brackets. This uses a different API with different options. So those different options are mainly that the new version includes an option to refund an item that, when selected, refunds the amount paid by the customer, including charges for the product, duties, and shipping, where the previous action that is now called cancel order, in brackets deprecated, used a different API and does not void payment authorizations and provides separate options for refund items. So it says if you are using a flow or an automation that includes a cancel order action, they recommend updating your existing workflows to use the new action. I always see updates coming to the Flow app because the Flow app helps with automating complex tasks. However, if you're just starting out, the Flow app isn't really something that you need to worry about right away. But every single month, especially for those new around here, we always see Flow app updates. So it's a great way to just kind of learn about it little by little. And if anything really piques your interest, you can look into it. Okay, so on November 8th, we have an improvement here. It's pretty straightforward. Increase inventory adjustment history from 90 days to 180 days. It says the Shopify admin now shows 180 days of adjustment history for a product or variant at a location. Previously, the maximum length was 90 days. We've now doubled that to 180 days. So we have an interesting little representation here of what this looks like. As we can see, we're transferring inventory from a specific location. And then on the left side here, we have the adjustment history. And what this is trying to display is that now that the update has moved from 90 days to 180 days, we can see a much longer history for locations or specific products. So we can see the activity, manually adjusted, damaged, order created, moved to damage, order created, fulfillment location changed, and we can see the different inventory states, the unavailable, the committed, the available, the on hand, and the incoming. This is more relevant if you run in-person locations and you're transferring inventory around to different locations. I don't have an in-person location, and so I personally never really use the inventory transfer features, but if you do have in-person locations or you're thinking about it, this inventory adjustment history can definitely come in handy. Moving right along, November 11th, Shopify Forms supports form-specific field creation and storage. You can now create fields on Shopify Forms that let you edit, manage, and save data to submissions stored in meta object without requiring the creation of a customer meta field. Ooh. So this might be my favorite update so far. So it says you can now create fields on Shopify Forms that let you edit and manage and save data to submissions stored in meta objects without requiring the creation of a customer meta field to store all submission data on a customer record. Okay, so this is a really interesting update. A lot of keywords here. So first, Shopify Forms. Shopify Forms is a Shopify made and developed app that appears on your storefront that helps collect email addresses. Email address collection is mandatory in e-commerce, and so Shopify Forms is Shopify solutions to that. Now, when you're basically making many different forms, sometimes you want to edit the form to collect different sets of information from customers. So most commonly, it's just an email address. Put your email address here. We'll send you a coupon or you'll subscribe to our email list. Sometimes it could be names. Sometimes it can be more and more information. And then this information, I made a little face here. And so this information is stored usually in the customer field. But if you wanted to collect very specific information that's not on the form, you would have to create a customer meta field. And so this is a lot more steps. You have to go to a customer meta field, create a customer meta field, link it to the form, and then make sure it's all working. And then furthermore, it says sometimes when submitted multiple times, only the latest submission was retained and the last submission was overridden. Additionally, linking that information to the correct customer profile is inefficient if it's not collecting multiple responses. So now you can choose whether each custom field in a specific form maps to the customer's profile or to a meta object that stores the full form submission. A meta object is a group of meta fields. All right, November 14th, discover marketing automation templates in the Flow app. So this is an improvement to the marketing field in the Flow app. So all marketing automation templates are now available in the Flow app, creating a unified surface to explore all templates powered by Flow. So this is combining a few things. This is combining Shopify Flow, and this is also combining Shopify email, specifically Shopify email marketing automations right here. If you've ever used a Shopify email app, it looks very similar to the Flow app because you're creating these automations, email marketing automations, kind of in this Flow chart style. So what Shopify did is they moved all of the automations basically on the email app to the Flow app. So you kind of need to use both. So now it looks like they're continuing this shift to move all automations and automation templates over to the Flow app completely. So this includes all of the marketing automations that were found in the Shopify email app. So anything to do with automations, if you're creating a custom automation from scratch, or you're doing some sort of marketing automations, you would have to go to the Flow app for these things. And also we just talked about customer meta fields. This is a perfect example of like a customer meta field. So there are marketing automations within the Shopify email app, like a birthday automation template or a VIP automation template. And the only way that you could segment your customers to send a birthday automation or a VIP automation is if you knew the customer's birthday. So for example, just talking about the last update that we just talked about, if you had a customer form, perhaps you could say, let us know your birthday and we'll send you a special treat on your birthday. And the person would put their name, their last name, their email address, and then a custom meta field for their birthday. And then all this information would be stored in their customer profile. And then you could then use that birthday information, for example, to maybe send a birthday automation. So you see how this kind of all comes together. It's really fascinating to learn about. There is a small improvement in the admin for fulfillment holds. Shopify Web and Mobile has been updated to show more information about fulfillment holds. So fulfillment hold basically is talking about if you're using a supplier, you're using a third-party app and you're requesting fulfillment, an order comes into your store and then you go to that order in the orders tab, there's a button that says request fulfillment. And then that usually is how you send the information to your supplier to request the fulfillment. Each app and each supplier does this in many different ways. However, there are some times that fulfillments can get placed on hold. So it says we've added more information about fulfillment holds to Shopify Web and Mobile. This will be beneficial because it will now be possible to get all of the context about a fulfillment hold, including what app placed the hold, or manual if the hold was placed by a merchant, the reason for the hold, and the reason notes attached to the hold. So this is just some examples of some fulfillment holds just to gain a little bit more context on the area. So a marketplace authorization is pending, a managed markets authorization is pending, awaiting return items, pending upsell offer, an unknown delivery date. Stuff like this can cause fulfillment holds, and then more information is now given per this update here. November 18th, validate shipping addresses in the admin. Companies, customers, draft orders, and shipping label pages now validate addresses to help merchants avoid delays or failed deliveries. Basically, a few months ago, Shopify added this address verification feature in the checkout page of the Shopify of your Shopify checkout. Now all they're doing is they've added the same address validation tool to the companies tab, to the customers tab, to the draft orders tab, to the shipping labels tab. This helps the majority of the time. However, it's funny that sometimes it's a little bit of a pain in the butt because especially if you're using shipping labels, like if you're buying a shipping label from UPS, USPS, and FedEx, sometimes the information that they require varies per courier. So for example, one time I was shipping something to China, just a sample product to China, and to send something to China, the person you're sending to has to give you a specific number. I forget what it's called. It's almost like a social security number, but it's like a Chinese resident number. And I was sending it once, I believe through UPS. The number is long. I think it's like a 14-digit number that they give you. But UPS can only input 9 digits. And so I literally could not ship it with one courier. I had to use a completely different courier just because of this address validation requirements. Silly things like that pop up all the time. Okay, November 19th, increased limits for automatic app-based discounts. So you can now configure up to a total of 25 automatic discounts per shop using discount apps. The limit for app-based discounts was 5, and it's now being increased. So this isn't the same when it comes to discounts being actually made on Shopify. It gets a little tricky when you're making discounts on Shopify and you're also making discounts from another app, because combining apps, as we know, is a little bit tricky on Shopify, depending on if it's a product discount or an order discount or shipping discount. There's only certain combinations that can work together. Then when you're adding app discounts and Shopify discounts, it can get a little tricky. So in my experience, I try to keep with either one or the other to help with that. But if you are mainly using app-based discounts and you're using automatic app-based discounts, well, this will help you because there previously was a limit of 5 and now that limit has increased. Okay, November 21st, we have a new feature coming to payments. Multi-currency payouts are now available in select regions. Ooh, this is an interesting update. So multi-currency payouts is now available in Australia, UK, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Germany, and Australia. This might be the key update of the month. Usually there's one that stands out to me that'll be most impactful. This is probably it, just because of the scope and the range that this is affecting. But basically it's saying here, we've released a multi-currency payout for Australia, UK, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Germany, and Austria. This will help merchants on advanced, plus, and enterprise plans to connect multiple bank accounts on a single store and settle in up to 8 currencies. So it's a little disappointing again to hear that it's only for the advanced plan, the plus plan, enterprise plan. But as we know, this is a good example of how Shopify products are released. So a multi-currency payout basically means instead of having one bank account that can only accept payouts in one currency, you can have multi-currency payouts. So for example, a great example of this for the longest time was for Canada. If your store location was in Canada, you can have bank account locations for Canada for Canadian dollar or United States for the US dollar. Now we're seeing this is the update here. And we can see that the bank locations and the additional supported payout currencies has drastically expanded to really fill out this chart. But again, unfortunately, if you're on the basic Shopify or Shopify plan, you aren't eligible for multiple payout currencies at this time. I have a feeling that this is going to be, again, brought down the line, maybe at editions coming up, but that's basically what multi-currency payout is, and hopefully we see it come to more plans very soon. November 21st, reach local customers with new retail first customer segments. So it says you can now create customer segments with location-based filters, add a local lens to any customer segment, and drive unique in-person experiences for your customers. This is a very interesting update. It really gets your brainstorming. But as we can see, this is for POS specifically, point of sale, point of service location. So a big part of marketing, email marketing, understanding your customer base is segmentation, customer segment. So what Shopify has added is it has added some new segments, specifically customers within a distance, orders placed by an app and location can help personalize your customer experience and better target customers based on their behaviors. So now you can create customer segments that specifically target local customers more effectively, helping you refine your strategy based on proximity and purchase channels. I think this is also extremely important for those who offer local pickup and define the zip codes or the postal codes that they offer local pickup in. So as we can see, we're talking about point of sale, in-person locations. And then if you have an in-person location, you are serving your local customer base, and adding customer segments like customers within distance or orders placed by an app or location can really help with that. All right, so on November 21st, we have an interesting update here to managed markets. So it says all managed market orders now pay out at first label scan. Managed markets orders fulfilled with DHL e-commerce labels now pay out at first label scan. So you know when you're sending an order and you get a tracking number and there are all of these transfer of hands and originating statuses and locations where it is. These are different events when it comes to tracking a package. So managed markets is a tier above markets. So everybody has markets, and then above that is managed markets. Helps if you're selling internationally by creating a merchant of record. And a lot of managed market orders, if not all managed market orders, might be the case actually, are managed by DHL. So specifically, this order is talking about payouts. And so the payout will come at first label scan upon the first in-transit event on the USPS leg for orders fulfilled via DHL Commerce. So merchants will now be paid out as soon as USPS picks up and scans the parcel. This will decrease the time to pay out and create consistent experiences across all managed markets. So you're getting your payout faster when you're using managed markets. That's a good update. Fun little update here, fun little improvements to the App Store. It's now easier to find the app with the exact feature you're looking looking for in the Shopify App Store. So search and browse apps based on specific categories or features in the Shopify App Store and see what features on apps offers in the category section of the app listings. So it basically just says, for example, you can search live chat or inventory sync for a list of app recommendations that support these features. I kind of feel like the App Store already had this. I wish they had maybe another example here to show us exactly the changes that are coming, but basically it's saying you can search the App Store in a variety of ways. They added Shopify Magic to the App Store so you can search for a specific keyword, or you can search for a category or a feature you're looking for. You can even ask it a question and it'll give you like a list of pages instead of maybe just looking for apps directly related to your search query. You can look for a list of features that appear in the category sections of the app listing. So we have another interesting address verification update here. This is again for managed markets specifically, where address correction service is now live. So managed markets now provides an address correction service for all labels. This is a new service to help increase address accuracy and ultimately decrease return packages. That when an order comes in for managed markets, if the order's address can be verified, it will be available immediately. If there's an invalid address, it might be corrected within 1 business day, or it might be errored completely if it can't be corrected. So it says also, if you want to opt out of this complimentary service, you can go to the admin marketing preferences, manage markets, then you can toggle the address correction service off, and you can turn it back on at any time. Again, adding more features to managed markets because managed markets is a paid service feature above just standard markets that all plans have. Last 3 updates of the month. On November 21st, we have change here for checkout blocks. The update isn't really anything. It just says that the checkout block documentation has moved to the Help Center for easier access and multi-language support. But it introduces, again, the key topic of checkout blocks, because this was a massive update that came just a few months ago where basically you cannot update the checkout page on your store unless you're on Plus. And Plus was able to do this with this thing called checkout blocks, but more specifically checkout extensibility. Now, the update is just talking about that the documentation is found in the Help Center, but the update from a few months ago was really interesting because checkout blocks are now available to any plan, even on the most basic plan, to update your checkout customization settings a little bit. So again, another example of how a feature kind of comes to the platform and it gets tested and it trickles down to different plans, different areas of the Shopify ecosystem. So if you were wondering on how you can edit your checkout blocks and maybe you missed the update a few months ago, there's this app called Checkout Block. Shopify intentionally makes it so that you can't really edit the checkout. So work correctly, payment gateways work correctly, and things are all processed securely, which all makes sense. November 27th, second last update here, you can track missing payouts within Shopify payments. So all that it's saying is if a bank payout to Shopify payments payout is sent to your bank account on file and it says paid status, but you don't see it on file, you can now provide the bank reference number. It's just a set of long digits that doesn't really mean anything to you. That can be provided to the bank account that you have in your settings as your payout account. You can give that to the bank and they can track it down using that unique code. Last update of the month, November 29th, exclude 40% more existing customers from ad campaigns with Shopify Audiences version 2.3. The existing customer list, retargeting, blah, 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 blah. So Shopify Audience is a Plus app only. Shopify Audience is basically a way that you can run very targeted ad campaigns within Shopify. It's only a Plus feature only, and it's been a Plus feature for a long time. Not sure if that will ever come down to pipeline to more basic plans, but we're just going to not worry about that because we don't cover anything Plus on this channel. But that's it, everyone. That is your Shopify changelog update month in review. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. We covered a lot of topics, which is why it's really important to always learn about the improvements and the updates and the features coming to the Shopify platform so that you can always be informed and maintain your competitive advantage. Now that it is winter, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because that means Winter Editions is right around the corner. I don't exactly remember when it comes out. I think it's in January or February, but since we are now in the winter season, Shopify releases editions in the summer, once in the summer and once in the winter. And so if you like Shopify updates, if you like Shopify community and you run a Shopify store and you want to keep up to date with all the latest and greatest features and tools and improvements and things you got to know while managing your Shopify stores, definitely hit that subscribe button for monthly update videos just like this one. And also look out for the winter editions content coming up very, very soon in the upcoming months. If you enjoyed, click that like button so I know. hit that subscribe button if you'd like to join a free Shopify community. And if you do, I'll see you in the next video.